All right, today we're jumping into a real classic in the world of spiritual self-help, Creating Money by Sanaya Roman. This book makes a huge promise that you can manifest abundance. But what does that even mean? And, does it actually work? Let's dive in and see. So the book kicks things off with this really provocative question. Is your mind your greatest financial asset? Think about that for a second. It completely challenges what we're usually taught, that money comes from your job, the stock market, all these outside things. But this book, it argues the real source of your wealth, well, it's something you already have inside you. Okay, so here's the lowdown on the book itself. We're talking Creating Money, Attracting Abundance by Sanaya Roman. It falls right into the spiritual self-help category, but it's not just a bunch of high-level ideas. It's actually set up like a practical step-by-step course, almost like a workbook, to help you learn the art of manifestation. All right, let's get into the first big idea. And this one is key because everything else in the book really builds on this single concept. This quote really says it all, doesn't it? You are the source of your abundance. The whole point is that prosperity isn't something you go out and get from the world. It's something you generate from within. The massive takeaway here is that you're not just a victim of the economy or your circumstances, you're actually the one in the driver's seat. Okay, so let's talk about that word manifestation. I know, it can sound a little out there, maybe a bit magical. But the way this book explains it is actually pretty down to earth. It's just the process of taking what's in your head, your ideas, your dreams, and bringing them into the real, physical world. And the crazy part? The book says we're all doing it all the time, whether we realize it or not. Okay, so we've covered the what. Now let's get into the how. This next part is all about the actual practical techniques the book gives you to start consciously creating what you want. I love this quote because it really shifts your perspective. Having money and things is not as important as mastering the process of creating them. See, it's not about just getting that one thing you want, like a dream car. The real goal, the real prize, is mastering the process. Because once you have that skill, you can create anything you want, whenever you want. So what's the secret sauce? How do you actually do this? Well, the book breaks it down into 3 main steps. Step 1 is about getting clear on the essence. So instead of just saying, I want a new car, you ask, what feeling am I really after? Maybe it's freedom or security. Step 2 is all about imagination. You have to visualize it, feel it, like it's already yours right now. And step 3 is becoming magnetic. The book has these energy techniques, kind of like meditations, to help you basically draw that desire right to you. And that second step, imagination, gets a lot of attention in this book. This quote says it's the closest linked to your soul. So we're not talking about just idle daydreaming here. The book treats imagination as your most powerful tool for creation, the thing that lets you see and build a reality that's bigger than your current one. And building on that idea, think about all those daydreams and fantasies we usually just brush off as wishful thinking. Well, this book completely reframes them. It says those are actually important messages from your soul, showing you your true potential and maybe even pointing you toward your life's work. How cool is that? Which, of course, leads us perfectly into our next section, how to actually follow that inner guidance. So, how do you know you're on the right path? How do you hear that inner guidance? Well, according to the book, it's all about your feelings. It's pretty simple, actually. Joy, lightness, excitement, those feelings are like a big green light. But when you feel resistance or things just feel heavy and hard, that's a sign you might be off course. And this really breaks it down, right? You've got your path of joy. That's when things feel light, easy, and you feel alive. That's what leads to more abundance. And then there's the path of shoulds. We all know this one. It's when you do things because you think you should, not because you want to. It feels heavy and forced. The book's big argument? Following your joy is always, always the more profitable path. All right, now we're getting to a final lesson from the book that is, well, it's pretty surprising. It's a bit counterintuitive, but it's also incredibly powerful. And it's all about how to handle the things in your life that you really don't want. Just let this quote sink in for a second. You cannot be free of something until you love it. Wild, right? So think about that job you can't stand, or that tough financial spot you're in. The book's advice isn't to fight it. It isn't to hate it more. It's to find a way to love it. So what's the logic here? Well,
The idea is that when you hate or resist something, your energy gets tied to it, like a kind of energetic glue. It keeps you stuck. So the solution is to find something, anything, to appreciate or love about that situation. When you shift your energy from resistance to appreciation, you dissolve that glue. And that's what frees you up to finally move on to something way better.
So we've walked through some really powerful and, yeah, maybe some unconventional ideas. What's the final analysis on creating money? Okay, the verdict. Look, Creating Money is a really empowering book. It's filled with practical exercises you can actually do. But, and this is a big but, you have to go into it with an open mind. Some of the concepts are pretty abstract. So you've got to be willing to suspend your disbelief a little and just try them out. Because of its clear guidance, all those practical exercises, and just the huge impact it's had on this genre, we're giving Creating Money, Attracting Abundance a solid 8 out of 10. It really is a foundational book if you're interested in this stuff. And hey, if this whole topic really sparked your interest, there are a couple of other books you might want to check out. First is The Millionaire Course by Mark Allen. And if you want to go even deeper into the more spiritual side of things, Sanaya Roman has another book called Soul Love. And that's our breakdown of Creating Money. Hopefully that gives you a really good sense of what it's all about. If you found this useful, you know what to do. Go ahead and follow and subscribe so you don't miss our next explainer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.